Hello and welcome, everybody. This is our live show today. My name is Anya. I'm your host here with Restream team in Austin, Texas, and joining me is Philip with Team Elgato. Hello there.
Hey, good morning, good evening. How's it going?
Very good. I see that people are already kind of hitting up the chat, which is amazing. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's great to see you here. So today, this live stream is going to be our conversation slash little masterclass about live streaming gear. We are going to talk about how to level up your quality of videos, whether you're a gaming streamer or business content creator and anything in between. We definitely want to make sure that this is a two-way street. So we invite you to participate in the conversation. And we have a great giveaway towards the end of the stream. Both Philip and I will select one favorite question from the community. So please make sure you ask your great, insightful, funny, creative questions about live streaming gear to us. We'll, of course, answer the question. And the folks who send those out to us in the chat will receive prizes from both Restream and Elgato. So this is super exciting. This stream is powered by Restream Studio, and we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Twitch. We're sending this both to Restream and Elgato's community. So again, welcome, folks. It's great to see you here. Just to get started, I see that people are super active already, and people are saying a lot of great things here. Check this out. Frank Sword says, I love Elgato Stream Deck. I know, it's amazing. There are people saying where they're watching us from, South Coast of UK. That's amazing. Business passion. Yeah, actually, let's get started with you guys, if you don't mind sharing with us what kind of content you stream, because we have a very diverse community here, and it will just help us a little bit to understand what kind of audience we have today. So please share what kind of content and live videos you do. If it's gaming, what kind of game? If it's not gaming, what is it? So we would really love to know. And while you guys are doing this, let's go ahead and get started with Philip. Philip, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, what you do at Elgato, what's your role, how long have you been with the team maybe, and what are you working on these days?
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome to be here. So, oh man, my start at Elgato. I've been at Elgato for I think it's about 7.5 years now, which is that's quite a long time. I actually got my start there essentially as a streamer. I was streaming on Twitch in like 2012 and 2013. I was uploading YouTube videos. I was very much into the Elgato products, and kind of one thing led to another, and I started working there on the community team, and then slowly transitioned over to the technical side, and now I lead the Elgato technical marketing team. So we're the people that make sure that if you're using Elgato gear, there's all the guides and the information out there to make sure that you know how to use it best. If any new updates, features come out, how to essentially use your gear better. And so yeah, it's been a crazy ride, back in, again, like 2012, 2013, I could have mentioned live streaming and Twitch to someone and everyone's scratching their heads. Nowadays, you mention live streaming to someone and they, oh, where are you streaming? Are you on Twitch, on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? And the environment has like completely changed, and it's really awesome to see where this is going. And obviously this year, a lot has changed as well. For better or for worse. And yeah, so it's been really really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing some comments here that is just absolutely fascinating. Like, people are responding to the questions about what they're streaming. We stream twice a week, a happy hour podcast. I love that. That's amazing. There's more kind of drinking theme here, streaming with friends while drinking beer. That's amazing. That's awesome. We stream our live show on locations from various venues in beautiful Honolulu. That's beautiful. That's so
Wow.
cool. There are so many. Yeah,
I'm jealous. I wish I could be there right now.
I know, right? This is so cool. I start wearing an orange wig in a bunch of live videos. Oh my god, this is great. Yeah, this is super exciting. Please keep coming with your questions. Please keep sharing what you guys are doing live streaming wise, and of course, remember, today we are talking about gear. So if you have any gear questions, Philip is the guy who knows the answers. And of course, if you have any kind of Restream related questions or comments, please feel free to share them as well. Our team is in the chat, to support you as well. If you have any questions, we'll try to make sure we answer as many as possible. We are going to take questions towards the end of the stream today, so please keep them coming. We'll keep an eye on the chat, but the Q&A session will be towards the end. So Philip, I think my first question for you would be to just kind of, as we're approaching the end of the year, to describe what is, from your experience, what are the key trends of live streaming in 2020, the things that you saw this year as we're coming to like wrapping this year up, and what trends do you think would be kind of dominating live streaming market and live streaming world as we move into 2021?
That's a great question. I think this year has really opened everyone's eyes to just how big live streaming is, because everyone was forced to find, new and innovative tools for mostly actually just communication. I'm not even talking about like game live streaming or anything. I'm just talking about, okay, in the business world, how do I talk with my colleagues? How do I, host meetings, that sort of thing. And, what's interesting is there's these two like driving forces in the technology world. One of them is gaming, and the other, I hope everyone here is over 18, but the other is porn. And so, when you talk about gaming and building these live streaming tools, these are all now being used in the business world of, on the business side of things. And, now they're seeing, oh my gosh, this is amazing. These guys have all this technology already that, can enhance, the quality of my production. I think a great example here is Restream Studio, right? This is something that is enabled for game streaming in the background for Restream is game streaming, but now we can use it for things like hosting podcasts or these shows that we're doing, right? So these types of tools are building on that, and a big part of that is the mobile side as well. So not only do you have the tools that are part of that, but like mobile streaming is becoming huge. As our phones are getting more advanced, my iPhone 12 Pro Max that I just picked up, a couple of weeks ago, it's a powerhouse. It's probably more powerful than many laptops out there. So why shouldn't I be able to stream from that? Why shouldn't I be able to use the built-in cameras on that to, live stream those out directly, or to even just use those as the camera in my streaming software? And so that's like the second part, is the mobile live streaming aspect. And then the third side is, and this one's a little bit further out, but we're already seeing this slowly happening, is virtual live streaming. Now, what I mean by that is essentially using like a game engine or a virtual avatar to be your on-stream persona. And I think one of the kind of biggest like representatives of that is Code Miko, who gets thousands of views on Twitch right now. And she uses Unreal Engine and has her character there, in a virtual environment, and uses a full body tracking suit and uses actually an iPhone to do facial tracking. So all this kind of stuff, all this tech, it already existed, not necessarily for this space, and that's being adapted. And there's a couple of huge benefits that come with virtual live, or having a virtual avatar. One of those is it doesn't matter how tired you look. Your avatar is always going to look, happy and cheerful. And, maybe you haven't had that first cup of coffee yet in the morning, but hey, people, they can't see that, right? Because it's virtual. You could have a messy room behind you, right? Doesn't matter, because, again, you have this virtual environment that you can tailor to be exactly how you want it to be. So I think that is also going to be a massive trend moving, over the next couple of years, is moving from, me being on camera to maybe having a 3D representation of me.
I love that. I so can relate to that, because I have a weekly live show that I stream every Friday. And of course, every Friday is different. And of course,
Yeah.
you have your moments when you're like, oh, I wish I could just like wear a mask. Speaking of masks, right? Like it will be different meaning this year, but in general, yeah, I think this is great. I think it's amazing how technology and live streaming are kind of like one of those technologies that like go together fast, and they just kind of like find this early adopters among creative people who create content, and then people start experimenting, people start trying. I can totally see how those virtual avatars could even migrate from gaming into the business world as well, right? Like, and maybe people would be streaming like marketing and social media and like tutorial videos, utilizing those great technologies and just kind of like revolutionizing the way how their content is coming off. So this is all great stuff. I love that. So based on your experience in 2020, I'm sure you guys experienced, similar to Restream, a big boost in people needing streaming equipment, because as we all know, due to the health crisis in March, the whole world kind of woke up realizing that they are all live streamers today.
Yep.
or
Yep.
they are not relevant anymore to their communities, to their clients, and so on. So I'm sure you experienced some both in like people being like, oh gosh, I need streaming gear, I need streaming mics. What do you see based on the past year, some of your best selling and most popular products? And what do you think is driving the popularity of those specific ones?
Uh, like I mentioned earlier, the gear and the tools that people use for live streaming and that we use for live streaming, they very much translate again into just higher video and audio production quality. I'm using a Sony DSLR camera with a cam link. I'm using an Elgato Wave microphone, obviously, and these sound and look much, much better than what you would get out of, for instance, a laptop webcam and a laptop microphone. So if you are someone who has to suddenly work from home, because of the pandemic, and you actually want to come across as someone who's a little bit with the times and doesn't have the absolute worst setup, then these are the types of products that you can immediately go to increase that quality of your conference calls. And it's a little bit, it's nowadays, if I have a call with someone or I'm talking with someone and their audio sounds really, really bad, or their video is completely pixelated and they're obviously using their webcam mic, and that this being in the business world, then I'm a little bit like, man, you could do better. You could do better. The tools are out there nowadays. I think we'll touch on this later, but epocam being a great solution there, right? Because you could use your phone as a webcam. Phones have extremely high quality cameras on them. So there's really no reason to not have, higher quality video and audio these days. And that's what really drove people looking for our products. Is okay, I'm sitting at home all day. Maybe I'm a teacher. Maybe I'm an educator, or maybe I just have to take calls all day, meetings all day, and I need some better lighting, or I need better video, or I need better audio, or I just want the convenience of using a Stream Deck to do things like starting my recording or stopping recordings or muting. The little things that Stream Deck give you that make a big impact. And that's pretty much it. It was kind of a natural thing. We already saw our tools being used more in the education sector and the business side of things. And this year obviously just accelerated that by a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned, using the mobile phone as a camera. I think when I first heard about epocam, so let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about epocam. When I first heard about this product, as more kind of like business oriented streamers, so like my live show, we're interviewing content creators from different backgrounds, and also do Q&A sessions for pre-stream community. So when we basically do the demo of our product and answer the questions in real time, I was really impressed by like how smart and clever this is. That idea that the best camera is already in your pocket, like that you already have one of the best cameras that, and one of the reasons why we invest in smartphones, substantial amount of money, is because we want those great cameras. We want to take good pictures without dragging around, those big cameras. And I was thinking that this is really amazing way to kind of democratize and revolutionize accessibility to good quality videos for creators of all kinds and backgrounds. So can you share a little bit about epocam, like maybe a little bit of how you guys came up with the idea? And then I know that you could do a little demo of how like switching cameras would work for you. And like, so maybe you could also demonstrate the quality of video using epocam.
Yeah, definitely. So we actually re-released epocam a couple, was it more than weeks, maybe 2 months? Honestly, this whole year, it's all a blur. But a couple weeks ago, I want to say, we re-released epocam, and essentially what it does is it takes the camera in your iPhone, be that the front camera or the 3 front cameras or the back camera, the selfie cam, or actually that's flipped around, takes the selfie camera or the back camera and turns that into a webcam. So you can connect your phone wirelessly or via cable to your computer, your Mac, or your PC, and use that as a super high quality webcam. As you said, people invest in phones for the camera itself. I know, because I'm one of those people. The phone itself, I don't, great, it calls, it sounds better, looks nicer. What I really care about is the camera quality. There's a saying that the best camera is the one that you have with you, right? Of course, you could buy a DSLR, but if you never take it with you, or you don't have it in your setup, then you don't have it. So then what's the point, right? And everyone pretty much these days has a phone, and especially has one that's compatible with epocam. I will say right off the bat that epocam, and I'm already seeing questions in the chat, epocam is only available on iOS right now. We are looking into adding Android capability or Android compatibility in the future. With that being said, though, I did want to switch over and show you guys. So right now I'm using a Sony DSLR camera with a Camlink 4K. Obviously very high video quality. You know, this is pretty much like the best that you can get. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take my phone here. So I've got an iPhone 12 here. epocam works all the way back to, I want to say, like the iPhone 6S. So, you know, what is that, like 5 or 6 years old at this point? And all I have to do once I've got the app running on my phone is in here in Restream, I can just switch to epocam, and I should probably switch that around. There we go. There's me. So now I am wirelessly coming to you, you know, from my phone. Now I'm holding it, so it's a little bit shaky. But, you know, I could have this up on a tripod now, or I could have this, you know, just with me. Like I could walk around if I want to give you guys a tour of my setup, right? I mean, you guys can...
Let's do that. I would love you to show your studio setup for everybody.
Yeah, I can flip this around here, and there's kind of a mirror effect, but you can see there is my setup. You know, can't show you exactly what's on that right monitor, but, you know, there you go. So if you want to, you know, live demo something, you know, I can show you, okay, oops, I just accidentally locked my phone. If you want to live demo something, then you can do that very easily. If you want to... for example, again, walk around somewhere, or let me get that set up again, or, you know, just show off something that you normally couldn't do when your camera is, you know, tethered to a cable and set up. Those are the types of things where epocam is great. And again, if you just want to use it for your, you know, for your meetings or for your live streams, then that's really easy to do. So there we go. I've got it set up again. I suggest when using epocam, not touching the lock button on your phone. But anyway, so if I wanted, if, you know, I could show you guys on my Stream Deck here. I could show you what's going on. I've got a couple different buttons set up. So it's really great for demoing things. It's really great as just again, a high-end camera that you can connect. You know, if I had it set up on my monitor, I could put it up here, and then, you know, that would be my camera that I'm talking to you with. So again, this is wireless right now. I'm not using any cables. I could wire it, you know, if I needed to charge it, or, you know, maybe my Wi-Fi connection isn't very good, so I can just use a cable. You can see here the latency is extremely low. You know, I'm using my wave mic to talk, but I'm still using epocam, and it's being transmitted wirelessly. So you guys can see there what the, you know, the audio and video sync is. So it's extremely fast. It's extremely easy to use. So yeah, that is epocam. So there's a free version that you can get from the iOS App Store to check out. And then if you do want to upgrade to the Pro version, which enables a couple different more features like 1080p video quality, using a chroma key, background removal, and a couple other things, then it's a one-time $8 purchase. So it's you know, just one-time $8, and you'll have epocam, you know, for lifetime. So yeah, that is epocam.
This is amazing. I highlighted while you were talking a couple of comments that I thought were really cool, because people were massively saying that the epocam, like the phone camera, is almost better quality than DSLR. So like it was absolutely crisp. It was absolutely great, and it gives you that flexibility to show you anything that is going on you know, around you. And people were mentioning a ton of doors behind you, and like kind of questioning what kind of hallway are you streaming from.
Yeah, it's like Narnia. You know, which door do I want to go to today? Exactly. I go to a different realm. No.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think it was really, it's really impressive, like how much flexibility you have, especially if you're doing some kind of like tutorial videos, if you do walkthroughs, behind the scenes, all those things, whether you're gaming or business streamer, it doesn't really matter. Like that flexibility to just like switch it and go from your static camera that's like all nice and set to like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Hey, look at my keyboard. Hey, look at my thing. It's just absolutely amazing. There's a quick question that I wanted to add because I think it's important. Is it compatible with iPads? Because I've seen a couple of those coming through.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So epocam works on iOS 14 capable devices and iPad OS 14. So if your phone or iPad supports iOS 14, then you're good to go with epocam. Like I said, I believe that's like down to the iPhone 6S or maybe the 7. I'm not quite sure. But we have all this information online. So if you just Google, epocam compatibility, then you'll find all that information.
Awesome. And I'm going to throw the Q&A link to everybody because we do have a little Q&A page. It's kind of talking about how to connect epocam with Restream, like how those two
Yep.
things work. But from there, you can definitely work your way to like more articles about compatibility and like how it works. Awesome.
I see another question here. Can you use your phone mic through epocam?
Yes.
And the answer is yes. So with epocam Pro, that's the $8 version, then you can use your phone microphone as the microphone. If you have one of the newer phones, again, I believe that's like the 11 and the 12, then those actually have stereo microphones. So you get a little bit higher quality out of the sound there because, you have two microphones instead of just one being used. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, it has built-in green screen. So if you have a green screen behind you, you can use that. You can use the different cameras. You can use the 1x or 2x zoom, depending on, which phone you have. You can choose if you want to use, again, the back camera or the front one. And there's some other things as well. So epocam is just an all-around great solution for anyone who, just wants to have a better webcam. And again, you can try it out for free right now. You can just go in the iOS App Store, download epocam, and give it a shot, and just see how it works for you. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you too, for those who's just joining us, and I've seen a lot of questions about the price. Yeah, if you could like say it again, that it's actually free for the basic version, right? And then the paid professional, like upgraded version, is $8 for a lifetime. So this is an amazing deal, and it's so affordable and so accessible because remember, you don't have to invest. Like think about investing in a camera of similar quality. You're going to pay hundreds of dollars to get anything even like remotely close to like iPhone 12 or iPhone 11 quality of video. And here's the deal, right? Only $8 for life. This is pretty amazing. All right. So speaking of just like video quality and things, the essential elements of studio, do you, of course, camera is one of the, very important things for live streaming. You want to make sure that you look good and that you appear on video. What other essential elements are there for live streaming studio for someone who is either just discovering live video, as well as for advanced users?
Yeah, I think the number one tool that anyone should like have first or upgrade first is a microphone. One of you could live stream and have a camera, but if people can't hear you, you can't talk. I think that's one of like the biggest things is you want to have a great sounding microphone first. It needs to sound good because if someone comes into your chat and you've got, a fan blaring behind you and, that doesn't sound good. Or if you're using a built-in mic of a headset, those can sound very tinny and small. People pay attention to that. They notice that very quickly. And, bad sounding audio is one of those things. Like if the video doesn't look too good, that's one thing. But if it doesn't sound good, people are going to take off their headphones, go, oh, I can't watch this. Right. So it's, I think audio is like one of the most important aspects of a live stream. After that, it's really kind of up to what what kind of content you make. So if you're doing podcasts or if you're sitting there and doing something that's on camera, then, obviously you want to upgrade your camera first. If you're mostly playing like PC games, then you might think about, well, okay, I want to make sure that my game looks as good as possible. So maybe I upgrade my CPU or my GPU for better streaming capability. If you've got a dark room, maybe you don't have a lot of windows, then okay, maybe invest in some lights, right? So it really kind of after you nail down the audio part, I think it really breaks out to just the individual use cases of like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want out of my content? And then which products or which tools do I need to make that happen? And at this point, what's pretty cool is that Elgato has the tools for virtually every part of that, right? It's like, okay, if you want better audio, you can use the Wave microphone. If you want audio routing capabilities so that you separate, for instance, music from your game when you're streaming, so that way you don't get DMCA'd, you can use Wavelink, which comes as part of the Wave microphones. If you need better lighting, you can use the key light Air, or the ring light. If you want a better camera, you could use either epocam, or you can go, invest in a cam link, and then, maybe you already have a DSLR from photography, or, you check out which ones work well for live streaming. So really, there's a ton of different avenues that you can take.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this question from Nathan here. He's asking, can you run more than one epocam into OBS or Restream? Is that something that you could do?
Not right now. So right now, if you have epocam, or essentially we just recommend running one epocam app on one phone on your home network. But having multiple devices, running epocam and then bringing them into some sort of software like OBS is something that we're looking into. But right now, that you can't do that.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and there was also a question about using the front and the rear camera simultaneously. I believe that's. I'm not sure how that's possible for the phone. Like I'm sure you can like switch between the two, right? Like you show that actually when you started.
Yeah, you can switch between the two. Using them both at the same time isn't possible. I know there's some like pro level apps that let you do that. I'm not talking about webcam apps. I'm talking there's some applications that will let you record actually all four cameras. Like let's say you have the triple camera setup, you can record all four cameras at the same time. There's some crazy stuff out there, but epocam is really just about, letting you select that one camera on your phone that you want to use, be that the back, be that the front, and then, that's your webcam. You can switch between them, but using multiple at the same time is not possible right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So one question that I had for you that I always kind of find curious in terms of a lot of times when you talk to people and ask for live streaming advice, like how do I get started for beginners, people say, just do it, right? Like just push that button and just get started, like go live, it's fine. Like, test your thing, see how much traction you have with your community. And then you will continue adding on equipment and leveling up your studio gear. But at the same time, the trend that I am seeing in with my experience, with my work, is that the viewers are getting more and more demanding for good quality from streamers, right? They want good quality audio, like you mentioned earlier. If the sound is not good, they will not listen, they will not watch. And same kind of comes for video. Like you can be extremely entertaining and bring in a lot of value with your message, but people will not watch something that's not, aesthetically appealing, I guess. So I would like to talk about the cam link that kind of allows everybody to use their DSLRs and really level up the quality of video. I'm using Camlink right now with my Panasonic Lumix, and I know a lot of people who are thinking about upgrading and getting that crisp, amazing image into like as part of their live video experience are asking like, oh, how do I do that? Like, how do I make platforms like Restream Studio think that my DSLR is a web camera? So here comes the Camlink, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell a little bit about that and how Camlink works and how it allows people to level up the quality of their streams?
Yeah, definitely. Camlink was an interesting product because, as you said, streams became, the production quality of streams keeps going up and up and up. And we noticed around 2015, we kept getting more questions about, hey, can I use my camera with a capture card so that I can then use the camera as my webcam? And of course, the answer for us was yes. You can, plug your camera into a capture card, one of our other devices, and then use that in your live stream. But those capture cards don't always work in other software. For example, when you want to do like video conferencing or something like that. And it also, again, it wasn't clear to people. We wanted to make sure that we get this message out that yes, you can use a higher end camera for your live stream. And so that's how the Camlink came about, because we saw this thing in the market. We were like, okay, people are, wanting to do this. And one of the best ways that we can tell people that this is possible is by actually making a product specifically for that purpose. So the Camlink only has one HDMI input and then a USB output to a computer. And that's because if you're using a camera, there's no, you don't need pass through to a TV or monitor like you would normally if you're recording or streaming a game console. And it also allows you to capture up to 4K 30. So whereas most webcams out there are 1080p, or honestly internally they probably operate at even lower, maybe like 720p. The Camlink, and if you use a higher end camera, and I'm not even talking too high end, but if you're using something that's a couple $100, then you can get 4K video output and get super, super sharp video. That's not to say though that the Camlink immediately balloons your like overall setup costs. One of the things that that I see is, well, okay, I get this Camlink, which is $130, and then do I have to use a camera that's $1,000 with that, right? Because that's way out of my price range. And the answer to that is no, not at all. There's most cameras these days. And when I say camera, I mean like DSLR, mirrorless, or action cam, something like a GoPro. They all have HDMI outputs or like live stream capability, right? You can connect them up to something like a Camlink and then use them in this capacity. And one of the really interesting things is you can go down there in terms of the price. So for example, I think on eBay, you can pick up a GoPro. I want to say it's like a Hero 3 or a Hero 4 Plus for like $60 or $70, and then you can connect that into a Camlink, and you already get much, much higher video quality than you would out of a webcam. The reason for that is, obviously GoPro invested a lot of time and and effort and money into making sure that their video quality looks good. So you're just essentially taking what you would record internally into a GoPro, you're just sending that out to the Camlink and then using that in your broadcast. So you really don't need to spend $1,000 on a camera, or $500 even, right? You can find these cameras, you can find these deals, you can find older ones that still provide much, much higher quality video. I do see a question in chat, which I think would be good to answer. Since we just talked about epocam being a wireless solution on your phone, Camlink is a wired solution. So Camlink connects via USB 3.0 to your computer. So, it's plugged in. You have to have an HDMI cable that connects to your camera into the Camlink. And that's how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a question for you though, also that I thought was interesting. Is there a difference between using a Camlink versus capture card? I think that's a great question, because I think a lot of people who are just kind of like starting their live streaming careers might get a little confused. Like, well, what's the difference, right? Like, why have both, or is there a preference?
From a purely technical perspective, the Camlink is a capture card, right? You're taking in an HDMI input and you're capturing that. The big difference, again, between Camlink and our other capture devices is that the Camlink has an HDMI input but no output, whereas on our gaming capture devices, you have an HDMI output which doesn't have any extra delay on it. So that way, excuse me, that way when you connect up a console, you send the console into the capture card and then out to the TV. There's no added delay there. But if you're capturing a camera, you don't need to send that out again to somewhere, right? You just need to bring that in your computer. So the Camlink does not have that HDMI pass through.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of the delay, I know that even for me, and I like my Panasonic is not the most modern, and it's kind of like the older generation camera, I would say. But I've heard that before, and I see some questions are coming in the chat as well, that there is a little bit of delay between your video and audio with Camlink. Honestly, for me, I think it's very tiny. It's like barely noticeable. If you really look for it, you can see it. But for me, it is there. I've heard that some people, I see that you have none, so I guess you somehow cracked that code. You figured that out. What is your recommendation on how to either avoid that delay, or anything that you can do to minimize it, or maybe there's something in the setup that can support like basically no delay between video and audio when we're doing the Camlink thing?
Yeah, it generally comes down to the camera that you're actually using. So for example, I just talked about GoPro. So GoPro cameras have the built-in stabilization, they call it like the hyper smooth or something like that. And what that does is you'll actually, it'll add a good second or two of delay on the HDMI output as it's stabilizing the video. And then it'll send out, the stabilized video to the Camlink. So in that case, the Camlink has nothing to do with the latency. It's purely a setting on the GoPro. The same is true for a lot of the DSLR. So there's some DSLR cameras, especially earlier generations, when they output 4K, they just need a little bit extra processing time to to process that 4K video and send it out over HDMI, and then that'll actually add latency. So for some older generation DSLR cameras, you'll actually want to set them down to, for example, 1080p 60 or even 1080p 30, because that will reduce the latency of the camera. So the cam link itself doesn't have any like memory or storage on board. So, what it gets in, it's going to send out right away. So there's really no way it doesn't really add any extra latency. So if you're seeing, a good second of delay, I suggest looking, in the camera settings, maybe tweaking the resolution and messing around with that to see if that can, reduce the delay or even remove it completely. On newer cameras, where they're kind of built with, like, say, 4K in mind, or built with live streaming a little bit more in mind, they often won't have that problem at all.
Absolutely, got you. Yeah, that's good to know. I definitely thought that this is probably one of the reasons, because I've seen people who are using newer cameras and the delay is pretty much non-existent. For me, it's barely there. Some people see it because they just used to paying attention to this kind of things. But I mean, I personally don't find it like extremely distracting. Again, it
Yeah.
depends on what's more important to you. If that latency is really bugging you, then yeah, upgrading your camera would be a great solution. A lot of times it's not disruptive at all. Like for the kind of streams that I do, it's mainly just talking with people, and the focus is usually on my guest with my shows. So like my slight latency is usually not a big of an issue. But yeah, that's all great stuff. So let's talk about lights a little bit. I've seen that there were questions about that as well in the chat, and a lot of people kind of like try to understand and navigate that world of lighting, right? So of course it's important. Everyone understands that the better camera with bad light is going to deliver worse results than a much more modest or budget camera with great lights. So when you're thinking about lights, what are the basic guidelines in order to choose the ones that would work for your streaming setup?
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head there, right? Because no matter how good your camera is, and I'm talking, you could get a $50,000 camera that they use on, movie sets. If you have bad lighting, that camera is going to look worse. Lighting is much more powerful than any camera will ever be. And vice versa, you can use a $50 webcam, and if you have great lighting, you can get pretty good quality out of it. And so I would, in terms of like, upgrading, what do you upgrade first? Is it maybe your lights if you're in a dark room, or is it your camera? Do you try to compensate for bad lighting with getting, a DSLR and then getting a lens? And my suggestion there would honestly be like, get lights first, right? Because not only will lights help you if you're live streaming, but then let's say you also just, again, need to light up your room, or let's say you want to film a vlog of some sort, or a setup video, or do an unboxing of some, of a product. You can use the lights that you just, that you picked up for that purpose. And again, if you have bad lighting and, you get a high-end camera, well, it's not going to fix that necessarily. The lights from us, they come in 3 flavors. You've got the key light air, and then the ring light. The ring light, kind of self-explanatory, right? It is a ring light. You can put the camera in the middle, and then it's just got a big ring around it of LEDs. The special sauce that comes in on all the Elgato lights is not only their construction quality and the super high-end LEDs that we use from a company called Osram. They're actually like a world-renowned manufacturer based in Munich. It's the Stream Deck integration. So all of our lights are wirelessly controlled. So if you set up a key light in your setup and you want to turn it on and off, or change the color temperature, change the brightness, then you can do all of that at the tap of a key on your Stream Deck, or you could even use your phone for it. So we have an app called Control Center where you can adjust all the settings right on your phone wirelessly. So, imagine you're at your home, you're live streaming, and you need to change some of your lighting setup, or you just want to turn them on and off quickly. Right now I would have to like get up and then, turn them on and maybe knock something over on my desk. But instead, I can just sit here at my setup, press a key on my Stream Deck, and then they just turn on or turn off. So they're just made extremely convenient. It's made for convenience, but also, made with live streaming in mind, right? These aren't just lights. These are lights, made for, setting them up at a desk and using them in your creator setup.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of that app. I'm actually having it right now. I'm just going to try to demo a little bit, just like you did. So this is my stuff. I really love that I can, of course, increase it or decrease it. So like, here's how I can control it. As you can see, my lighting is changing, and I also can control the warmth. Like I can make it myself like a little bit more orange or a little bit more blue, right? So, and it's just so seamless, and it's just as long as you have Wi-Fi. And guess what? If you're going to stream, you probably do have it. You are going to, it's just so easy to control. And even someone else, like this is the experience that I had with my videos. I have, other people on my team, and sometimes they would watch the stream because they're helping me, with moderation and stuff. And they're like, oh, you kind of like look like a ghost. You have a little bit too much light. They have access to the app, like because we're sharing the same one, and they would connect, and they would just like actually make the light a little bit more smooth while I'm
Oh,
live.
that's funny.
I'm oblivious. I don't even know, right? Like I'm just like live, and they're like, oh yeah, you're a little bit too much. Like here we go. So this is amazing, like how how much flexibility it gives you. And there was a question here that I thought was worth mentioning. Yay, lights! Let's see Philip's light setup. So if you don't mind,
Oh, well, hold
like,
on. Let me pull up epocam again,
yeah, let's
and
pull up the vocab and just like show what you are using for lights, because I am I'm using two Elgato key, and they're kind of like set on a different height here. So there's one that's like closer to me and slower, another one is a little bit higher, and it helps to light up the background for me a little bit as well. So yeah, that's kind of like the setup that I have. I'm not using ring lights because like I'm just finding that the key lights are more than enough for me. But yeah, let's see what you got.
let me get epocam set up. All right, so I'm gonna flip it around here. So again, I'm gonna pull up my phone, and you guys can see there. Let's see if I switch this to epocam. There we go.
Yeah.
So I've got to admit, I've got two key lights set up, but I don't actually have them because if you'll notice, and I'm going to move away from my mic, I have massive windows right behind my setup. So during the day, I actually have extremely good natural lighting. But, in my setup, I do have two key lights set up. I've got one here on the left, and then I've got one here on the right. And so, when it's dark outside, or when I, need a little bit of extra lighting, or maybe I want to change my skin tone up just a little bit, then I can do that right from my Stream Deck. I don't need to ever touch the lights or do anything with them. So it's pretty awesome.
Amazing.
But again, in my scenario right here, just again, because, I do have a massive window, I don't need to use the lights during the day. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Great stuff. Well, this question I think is very interesting and sort of important. How does epocam affect battery life on the phone? Because so the recommendation was that you guys should have streamed this whole thing with epocam. Good idea. I agree. We should have. But we just wanted to give you a little demo, like, and show how it's different between the DSLRs, and like how easily it is to switch between the two if you're choosing to use both.
Yeah.
So what does it do to your battery? I'm curious.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much the same as if you were like recording a video. Obviously, epocam is taking a video from the camera, it's converting that, and then it's sending it over Wi-Fi to your computer. So yeah, it's going to use a little bit more battery than normal, right? Because you're actively using your phone. But I'm talking about, you're going to get hours, right? It's not like suddenly you only have 1 hour of battery life when normally you have 12 hours, right, on these phones nowadays. No, you can use epocam for hours on end. And again, it works in wired mode too. So let's say you need to use epocam for 10-hour live stream or something like that, right? You're going to need it like an entire day. You could have a cable ready to charge it, or you could just plug it into your computer directly via USB cable, and then it'll keep it charged. So awesome. That is to say, I don't have exact numbers for you. So if you're like, I have an iPhone 7 and I use epocam, how much battery is it going to drain in 1 hour? Unfortunately, I can't tell you that. Batteries are also variable, right? They degrade over time. So maybe a new phone would last, 10 hours with running epocam, or 5 hours. Older phones might only last an hour. I honestly can't tell you that. So one thing I also wanted to mention is, yeah, some of you guys in the chat might have noticed that I have a level on my camera. That's because where I'm sitting, it's actually at a bit of a tilt. And so I use the level on my camera to make sure that when I'm on video, that it actually looks like I'm, level, I guess.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
that's why it's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a question here about the microphone. The question is, did I miss out on the mic conversation? So we will definitely, we did break down a little bit when we talked about the essential elements of your studio, that the microphone is probably going to be your number one investment, because if you sound good, it is probably the best thing that you can do to your stream. Because remember, a lot of people are experiencing your live stream as a podcast, unless you're streaming gaming. And the quality of sound is extremely important no matter what you do. Philip, would you like to kind of like walk us through a little bit about the options for microphones that Elgato is offering today for both gaming and non-gaming streamers?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is, microphones, I think, have nothing specifically to do with gaming. I mean, microphones are needed everywhere and anywhere, right? If you're just talking with your friends on Discord, or if you are live streaming, or you're, again, on a conference call with colleagues or something, right? Everyone needs a microphone at some point. The two offerings from Elgato are the Wave 3 and the Wave 1. I'm currently using a Wave 3, and the question then becomes, okay, what are the big differences? The differences are mainly on the physical side. So the Wave 3 has a capacitive mute button on the top. So it's this little thing up here. All I need to do is tap it. Now I'm unmuted, right? And so it's essentially a touch sensitive button. And what the cool thing is that you don't hear me actually muting the microphone, right? On a lot of other mics, you'll have an actual click, like some sort of a button they have to click in. With the Wave 3, you don't have to actually, click anything, and you can't hear it. The other thing is, on the front of the Wave 3, you have a dial with which you can control three settings: the microphone gain, or essentially how loud it is, the headphone volume output, because it has a headphone jack, and then the ratio between how much audio you hear from your PC and how much audio you hear from the microphone itself in your headphones. So if you want to, self-monitor to make sure you sound good on your own levels, you can adjust, how much of the balance between the two. On the Wave 1, you don't have the capacitive mute button. Instead, you just have a regular, like that dial becomes your mute button. And then the setting on the Wave 1 adjusts the headphone output.
Awesome.
Or is it the headphone output or the mic gain? Honestly, at this point, actually, I think we made it adjustable. That's right. We made it so that you can change that. So while it used to be locked to only controlling one thing on our Wave 1 microphone, where you only have one dial that you can adjust, in our software, in our Wavelink software, you can actually adjust what that controls. So it gives you a little bit of customization. The big part about both of our microphones, though, is the Wavelink software. Now, I don't really have this set up to demo right now, but essentially our Wavelink software lets you take different audio inputs, like, say, Spotify for music, if you're into such a thing, when you're live streaming, and your game, and a web browser, and, say, your Discord chat with your friends. And you can take those, and then in our Wavelink software, you mix them all together, and then our Wavelink software creates two separate outputs. So one of them is what, like, I would hear, and then the other one is what the stream hears. Now, what's really cool about that is, if you want to say, well, again, because of DMCA issues, we're going to mute the music to the stream and only have it in my headphones, you can do that. So then only you hear it, but not the stream. Or if your friends are a little bit loud on the voice chat, you can actually turn them down for the stream, but keep it at the same level for yourself. Or if you are, say, playing a game and you enter a cutscene in a game, you can mute everything, at the tap of a key on a Stream Deck, for example, and then bring it all right back up, while you still hear it, but the stream doesn't. Like, you turn off music, alerts, and Discord, so that way you have like a clean cutscene moment, and then you can turn it all back on. So it just gives you a ton of individual control. And this is the software that comes with our Wave microphones. It's called Wavelink. You do need a Wave mic to use the software. So, could I download it standalone and just use it right now without the mic? No, you do need the microphone plugged in, because that's essentially how we do this low latency audio mixing, is we use the microphone for that. So that's our mic lineup. And, we built our microphones. I mean, you can see it here. I'm using one right now. The style of it is very, I don't want to say muted, but basically, in such a way that it's not going to stick out. It's also not going to look as super gamey, and you can use it pretty much in any environment you go to. It's going to look great if you're at home, or in an office, or in a different professional setting. These microphones, they'll look good and they'll sound good, and that's really the key point for us, while enabling cool software only functionality like the Wavelink software.
Amazing. So there was the question about the giveaway. Are you guys still going to do this? Yes, we
I think
are. If we
so.
stick around, yes, if we stick around to the end, and in just about 5 minutes, we'll be wrapping this up. We will be selecting the best questions that you guys have asked us, and each of us will select one. So you will get prizes. Actually, we can reveal. Reveal party will be right now, right?
Sure,
So
let's do it.
yeah, the prizes for Restream is going to be 1 year of Restream professional plan. That includes the studio that we're using right now with all this branding functionality that you can brand your streams, you can highlight the comments, you can add your logos and overlays, all that good stuff that you're seeing right now. And of course, multi-platform streaming, go to 30 plus destinations at the same time. You can use our encoder studio, or you can use Restream with OBS, Zoom, and pretty much any other encoder that you can think of. And on Elgato side of things, you are getting an epocam, right? You're getting one lifetime deal to
Yep.
complement the Restream's professional plan for a year.
Yeah, I think we have a couple codes of epocam Pro that we found laying around, and we're like, you know what can we do? And we thought to ourselves, giving them away to you guys would be the proper thing to do. So yeah, stick around for that. I think we've got a giveaway here on stream, and then possibly even one going on social media later, if I remember correctly.
That is right. So both Restream and Elgato are doing a co-marketing campaign right now, and there is another giveaway contest where we have even more of those. I believe we're giving away about 10 of those codes that are paired together, Restream plus Elgato. So definitely check out our social channels, both for Restream and Elgato, to see how to participate and to take part in that. And hopefully, may the odds be in your favor, of course.
Yes.
I have a question, like the last question for you, Philip, before we select the winners. So I was participating in one of this live events some time ago, and that was the question for all the guests, and I thought it was hilarious. So if you were to pick just one piece of equipment, just like one thing that is not your laptop, and you were to go with your live stream immediately, what would be that thing? Like, what is that one piece of gear that you will never give up if you have to go live and you have to give up everything else?
If I have to go live, oh boy, that's kind of a tough one, because there's a lot of things that I would like to that I like to use.
Laptop is included. So your laptop is included. So technically, you have some basic video, you have some basic audio, right? Like from your microphone. So you can't just like say, yeah, I'll drop everything, but you can't bring one thing with you. Like, what would that be?
I mean, I think for me, it would just be a microphone, something like our Wave mic that I'm using right now, just because, again, in my personal opinion, now everyone's different here, but there's nothing worse than having bad audio on your stream, on your live stream. And again, to me, it creates this real difference between someone who's just kind of maybe trying it out versus someone who's kind of investing some time into it. And so for me, definitely a microphone. That would be like the one thing, give me a bad computer, give me a bad, camera, give me bad everything else. But at least if it sounds good, people can still, stick around. And the best part is they could even turn off the video and just basically listen to it as a podcast. And then, it still works.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that would be my like one product that I have to have no matter what.
Yeah, that's really cool. I remember when I was asked that question, I actually picked internet connection.
Okay, fair enough.
Like a little bit of a cheating. I was like, you know what? If I have my laptop but I don't have internet, I'm not going to go very far, because there's very little room for bad internet or no internet in the world of live streaming. But it was a little bit of a cheating, because I think the question was about gear, right? It was about like stuff that you want. So cameras, lights, microphones, and yeah, I also agree that the audio is a priority. But a lot of times, great lighting is going to make a huge difference. So your lights would probably be one of my favorite things, and the things that I really cherish about my live stream.
They can completely change the tone, right? I mean, lighting is, there's a reason why the, movies and pictures, the way they're lit makes such an impact, right? If you have one light, from one side, you get that dramatic, that shadow effect, that's why we call ours key lights, is because, you'll have one light, and then, or if you have two lights, you create very even lighting. So maybe you have a more neutral light. There's all these different things. Maybe you have, I see behind you, you've got that RGB light going, right? That adds a little bit of color to your scene. There's so many different things. Light has a massive impact as well. I think on a conscious level, sure, because you see it, but even on a very subconscious level, if you have no lights and it's very dark, that's very different from, like your setup where it's extremely bright and very vibrant. So I
Yeah.
mean, all of this comes together, right? All these things come together to create a a great live stream, a
Yeah.
great production
Yes.
quality, and that's what everyone is striving for, is that best production quality. And we're in the very fortunate place that we get to make cool products that enable that. So
Yeah, yeah, the best on the market. I'm going to highlight a couple of questions that I liked because we
yep,
kind of have to pick the winner soon. There's
wrap it
so many
up.
amazing
Yeah.
questions. Yeah, so there's this one that I really like. What is your preferred setup using Restream and Elgato together? I think this is a very kind of like uniting, like kumbaya type question. Like, how do you guys work together? What would be your recommendation? That is awesome. And definitely for me, it's Restream Studio, which I'm using because I'm not really good with OBS and all that stuff. So like I prefer like very easy encoders like that. And of course, Elgato lights and mics and all this, amazing things that you folks are making. There was also a question about Santa that is really fun. What's the one thing someone should ask Santa for this year when it comes to gear? That is really cute. And there was one more that I thought, oh, this one is really cool. Jacobs asks, what is your dream live streaming product and why? So something that doesn't exist yet and Elgato should make in
Oh,
2021. Like that is a good one. I might actually go with this question. So,
my dream, that's a tough one. I'd have to think about that a little bit. A, because
yeah,
if it's actually something I want, and B, I hope I wouldn't be revealing any secret information on stuff we might be working on, right? Because there's always
yeah,
that side of
yeah.
it too. So I'm at this point, I don't really have an answer for that. But chat, if you guys have, put what is something that if you could, no money, no tech, nothing, you don't have to worry about any of that. What would be like your dream live streaming product?
Oh Jesus, time machine.
Well, okay. I think we could all use one of those.
Time machine. So like go back when I'm 20 and like make me a streamer
Yeah.
back then. So that would be a good one. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. There are a lot of like visual things that you can do, like some kind of like artificial intelligence driven filters and overlays. Like that's one of the things that I'm kind of like envisioning for myself, like something that could kind of apply like cool Instagram like filters
Mm-hmm.
for you without you having to control them, right? And yeah, like definitely those like avatars that you mentioned, like tools that would make it super easy to create those on the fly as you go for yourself, for your guests, for your panelists. That would be pretty fun. Again, like for me, when it comes to streaming products, and that's why I love Elgato, is because you guys kind of like preach that ideal that the product should be very easy to use. It's very important that you don't have to go through months training and courses and thought process of like, oh gosh, how do I wrap my brain around this?
Yep.
And Elgato is amazing in that, and Restream is kind of like trying to do the same thing, right? Like make communicate with users through interface, make it intuitive, make it easy, make it a no-brainer and foolproof, right? Not saying that anyone is a fool, but it's just easier to be in that mode, because then you can focus on other important things like your content, like your game, like your community and your chat, and you don't have to think about gear and if it's working right, because that's the gear made right when you don't have to think about how to use it.
Exactly. Yep. That is definitely one of our like core tenets is, we want you to focus on your content, not necessarily on the gear that you're using. The gear that you're using should enhance the content that you're making. Right. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to pick Jacob's question because I think it definitely ignited some conversation and like some wishful thinking and creative ideas about what could be a dream software. What's your pick, Philip? I know there were so many.
I have a hard time picking a question as well because there were just so many. And I actually need to see if I can scroll back here in the chat just to see if that's something I can do. Let's see here.
I don't think as a guest you can.
Oh no, I can't. Here, I'm gonna toss this one back to you. Do you think you could pick a second question that was good?
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that we take someone from the Twitch community, because there were so many great questions that coming from Elgato community that's primarily on Twitch. And this one is good. Would a stream deck be considered essential with streaming? Like that's a good question about the essential. Like what is essential, right? Like define what is extremely important. Let's see what else we have here. Sorry guys, we're kind of like, we didn't think about how many questions we're going to get, and like we didn't think about a good way to
But hey, that's the
Um,
beauty of doing a live stream. You can figure out
exactly.
the problems and the issues in real time. So,
Exactly. Yeah, like picking the winner mechanics. That's my dream
yep.
live streaming product. Here you go, Jacob. We figured it out. Like how to pick the good question without like going through all this stuff. This is pretty interesting. Also, it's actually from YouTube. What advice do you have for new streamers coming into a new decade? Starting 2021. This is a very New Year's resolution type question. So yeah, I would probably pick this one if you're okay with that.
Yeah,
And of course, we
absolutely.
have
No,
to
it's
answer
a
it. We have to answer it.
yeah. What advice do I have for new streamers? I think the biggest one I can give, and it might sound generic, but it's also one of the most true ones, is just stick with it. Everyone's live streaming today, and everyone's trying it out, and the difference is, do you stick with it for a week? Because let's be honest, a week when you're just live streaming for the first time is not a very long time. You might need to do this for months before you even see a little bit of an uptick in your viewership, or you even start getting your first viewers. And so, stick with it. If you don't get anyone in your first week, it can hurt, but you just gotta keep going, because it's kind of a long game in that sense. There's no magic, there's no secret pill that you can take, there's no magic you can do to just kind of grow. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes effort. You got to make sure your content is different, right? If you're just streaming, I want to say Fortnite, there's millions of people out there who are doing that. How are you doing something different so that when people come to your stream, they go, wow, this is amazing. This is what I want to watch this guy. Maybe he's extremely funny, or she's really good at the game, or etc. Right? What is it different about you? So stick with it, and then think about what you offer that's different.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. All right. So I guess Trigon6187 and Jacob that we highlighted earlier, please reach out to Restream support. So on Restream website, on restream.io, you can see that orange bottom right chat. So our support team will know that you guys are coming from the giveaway and you're the winner. So we do already have all the codes for you for both epocam and for Restream professional plan upgrade. So please reach out to our support team. And I still want to acknowledge, because we have 3 codes, right? Philip, am I right?
I think so.
I remember, if I remember that
If
correctly.
not, we just committed ourselves. So,
We
well, there
just
it is.
committed. We'll find another one. Exactly. I want to make sure that we give away one code to someone from Twitch as well. I see that a lot of people, kind of like got great comments, and I know that. Oh gosh, I'm not even going to try. The Kaniak, he actually made a bunch of comments, and he says, "You guys rock. Thank you. I'm new to Elgato streaming world, so this information is priceless. The software is going to be the key. I will check out everything. I love the excitement about the gear and the community. So we would like to also grant you another code for both Restream and for Elgato, because I know that you asked a bunch of questions in the beginning that we're just like having hard time scrolling back to them because more questions than we expected. But anyway, so please be sure, if you are still here, if not, I'll find you on Twitch. Luckily we have your name and we have all the screenshots with you, and we will reach out to you. For YouTube people, for Jacob and our other winner, we don't really have the way to find you, so please be sure to reach out to our support and claim your prizes, your epocam lifetime subscription and your 12 months of Restream professional plan. This is our show, I think. Thank you so very much for your great questions. Philip, thank you so very much for your insights. There was so much, like so many knowledge bombs and so many great demos that you did in your Narnia doors.
Door
space.
setup. Yeah. Which one am I going to leave through today? That's what I get to decide.
That's what I want to know. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great to be here. We could do this again sometime. There's so many questions always to answer, and so much to talk about when it comes to live streaming, broadcasting, creating content on the internet today. So thanks for everyone who tuned in. Thanks for all the great questions. And I think, like we mentioned earlier, I think there's some more giveaways going on social media. So take a look at the Elgato Twitter. I want to say, I think we might be tweeting this out, and keep an eye on Restream as well. And yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Basically, make sure if you have, if you didn't win one of those 3 prizes we have right now, we have 10 more. And the giveaway is going to run all week and maybe even 2 weeks. We should probably be better prepared for that. But at least this week, for sure, you can enter
Yep.
that giveaway. So check us out. Check us out at Restream social media channels as well as Elgato, and enter the giveaway. And of course, we really hope that you guys will win. And we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your great comments. Thank you for participating in our little question trivia giveaway thing, and for sharing your thoughts and ideas about live streaming. And of course, happy live streaming in 2021 and the rest of this year. Happy holidays. And we will see you around. And yeah, if you don't mind, guys, in the comments, not in the chat right now, but maybe in the comments to those videos, if you can, let us know if you would like another Restream plus Elgato stream just like this. And we will plan on something in the beginning of 2021 to answer more questions, to walk you through more demos, and to help you set up for success with your live videos. All right. And thanks again. We are going to wave you bye.
Bye, everyone.